Ok, muy buenas tardes. Criptofondo, representante oficial de la alianza MCC, conformada por MadeSafe Coin Payments y el Fondo de Inversión de Capital Privado en Divisas Digitales CCP 100, les da la más cordial bienvenida a este seminario avanzado de criptodivisas y estrategias de inversión. Por favor, recibamos con un fuerte aplauso al señor Alex VK, director de Marketing Internacional, que nos va a dar una pequeña introducción.
Good afternoon, everyone. Fantastic to see everybody here. I'm not sure who saw the video from me in Hong Kong, but time travels so fast. I'm so happy to be here. I actually want to start with a question, and these questions only work out if people answer them. So don't just sit there and wait for the person next to you, okay? So I'm curious, why are you here? I want somebody to put up their hand, actually be a few people, and tell me why you're here today. So I didn't pay anybody to answer that question, so somebody really has to put up their hand. Don't make me pick. Come on, perfect. Why are you here?
I'm here because I got invited for somebody who's interested in the future.
Yeah?
To invest their money.
Okay. Money, one reason. More. Thank you. You get a prize. More. Come on. Easy. Why are people here? Why are you here? I'm curious what people know and why they're here. Yes? To hear new, to learn something new. Okay. Thank you again. So two prizes. Basically, I would challenge everybody here in this room today. I would assume that everybody's here for one reason, and that's freedom. Now, this is not some Braveheart kind of freedom. This is the freedom to live our lives the way we want to. So my job as Global Marketing Director for MCC. What is MCC? MCC is 3 companies. So you probably know a little bit about each 3, but not necessarily too much. So I think it makes sense to start off by just quickly discussing what they are. So you have MadeSafe. Another easy question here, and probably more comfortable because you don't have to put your hand up. Who believes that the internet today is safe? Okay. Who believes that it's secure? Hands up. Okay, see, this is an easier way of answering questions, right? Who believes that the internet is private? Did I just ask that? No, private. No, none of the 3. So we have gentlemen in Scotland who have spent 10 years designing the internet the way they believe it was meant to be, and the internet that we deserve. I was on the plane flying here, and I was reading in, I think, the New York Times. I mean, I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but the Republicans are planning on repealing a law or changing the laws so that internet providers can sell our information. So think about it, the last kind of huge technological advancement, the telephone. When we're on the phone, we expect that conversation that we have with somebody is private. And the company that we pay for that service, they don't have the right to take that information and to sell it. So why is it that when you go on the internet and you're searching something, why does the company that you're paying to provide you that service have the right now to take that information and sell it, right? Or use that in any way they want? So that's the first point I want to make in terms of MadeSafe. And I'm not going to get into the technology today, but I think the technology comes down to freedom. Second point, coin payments. So you'll hear about coin payments in great detail today, but I would also argue that one of the big reasons that coin payments exist is to provide us with, again, freedom. The freedom to transact the way we want to. Again, why is it that we're limited in terms of what we can buy and how we can buy? And more we're seeing technology changing that. You can use Bitcoin, you can use cryptocurrency in new ways to buy things, to transact, to exchange with one another. So again, coin payments is trying to give us our freedom, maybe back or change the way freedom looks. And the final company, CCP, again, what is it about? It's about freedom. So I would guess that most people in this room right now are interested in cryptocurrency, and we all have our reasons for those. But again, I think it's about we want to be able to transact, to send money privately and securely. And so what CCP has done is created an opportunity for us to use that Bitcoin, that cryptocurrency, in a new way, to invest. And again, all of these 3 companies, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is one word: freedom. So that is what MCC is about. It's about pushing forward with technology and giving us the technology and opportunities to live life the way we want to, and kind of saying goodbye to the old and looking forward. And all of these technologies are groundbreaking. All of these are new. So everybody in this room today, I challenge you guys all to stay present. Listening, sometimes with all these features and technology can kind of get a little bit hazy, but it's actually not that complicated. So thank you again for coming today. Hope everybody learns something and sees some potential in what we're about to talk to you about. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Alex, President and Founder of Coin Payments.
See if that works. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here in Mexico City. It's my first time here. It's actually a pretty wonderful place. I totally had different expectation of the city when I come here. I really fell in love with it. It's amazing, and I'm probably going to be back here again. To start this presentation off, thanks, Alex, for opening and all the wonderful words about Coin Payments. I appreciate it. Okay, so Coin Payments. It's a company that got started in 2013, and it's based in Canada, Vancouver. That's where we found it from. I started together with Sina, who's sitting here as well. You're also going to hear from him today, and we're going to explain in detail what this company is all about. And you know, the whole beginning of this company, it was coded and created on the Bitcoin Talk forum, and then we saw the potential of what it was given and where the direction it was needed to go, and we've offered to buy it from the guys who originally created the code. And we're happy to say now, after that purchase, we've hired them back on as part of our team. So we're really happy to have the original founders with the company together at this time. And we kind of expanding it globally. And as of today, we have 160,000 customers around 210 countries in the world. And in about 2015, we did a crowdfund for this company. And we're happy to say that, you know, at that time, we only had 17,000 processing vendors. And now we've gotten to 160,000. So we had an amazing few years of growth. And a lot of it had to do with revolution of Bitcoin. And I'm sure a lot of you want to hear about it, and kind of, this is a lot of, I want you guys to ask questions in the end. If you do, I'll be around. So if I have something I don't cover on stage, there's sometimes I forget, or if you're curious and you want to know more, please find me out there. So Coin Payments is was the first on the planet multi-cryptocurrency payment processor. And what that means is Bitcoin's been around since 2009, but there's never been a payment processor that accepts all the other cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Dashcoin, Ethereum, and all the other popular coins that are on the planet now that people are also transacting in. So there was definitely a niche that needed to be filled, and in the spirit of cryptocurrency, which I believe is freedom, like Alex said, you know, it allows people to create their own money that's independent from banks, from any institutions, from governments, and everything else that controls our current money supply. Bitcoin started, and at first, a lot of people didn't believe that a project like that could work because it's not backed by the military, it's not backed by the financial institutions. And yet, here we are today, Bitcoin market cap is $20 billion US. Right, so this coin has not just proven that it's possible, it has very much become an alternative banking system for financial transactions or just keeping your wealth. But there's also all these other cryptocurrencies that have come in the way of Bitcoin that sort of followed behind. And a lot of them, you know, have been ignored by the mainstream that's formed in this industry, which would be my competitors in the space. And we thought that that was a big problem, because if you think about Bitcoin and you realize that it's people-driven, it's open, and it's accepting to everyone, then why are the new companies that are servicing these cryptocurrencies not ignoring all the other ones? Shouldn't it be that, you know, if somebody's actually wanted to transact in it and buy it, shouldn't that be just enough threshold for a payment processor to start using it? So that's what we started doing in 2013. So our company innovated quite a few things to create a system that people actually trust over the years. Well, like I said, when we first started, it was just a team of 3 people. And we didn't have a lot of funding, and it was just basically like a hobby project, and we were building it step by step. And as the market evolved, as the cryptocurrencies evolved, there was a lot of things and a lot of bad and good lessons that were learned along those years. Some of them, if you think about exchanges that were hacked, there was a lot of thefts and things like that in Bitcoin space in previous years. And that taught us a lot about security and what to look for, what to improve, what to build. So what we've done, and we were actually one of the first people to do it for cryptocurrencies outside of Bitcoin space, is create multi-signature offline storage. And I know it's a super complicated thing to comprehend, but the way to describe it is a safe. So imagine a safe, and it has 2 keyholes, right? And then I give 3 keys away to my employees. So each employee has 1 key. In order to open that safe, 2 of them have to come together and turn the key together. So essentially, forbidding one of them to run away with the money because his key alone is not enough to actually do the transaction. So that's called multi-signature. So this way, if a hacker gets into your system and compromises your computer, he can't actually withdraw any money because he needs a secondary key that's on the separate machine. So we came up with this process to create a multi-signature protection services for all the funds that are sitting on our system for all the cryptocurrencies that people store on our wallets. Beyond that, we thought, well, blockchain is a bit slow at times, right? So I don't know if you ever, has anyone here transacted in Bitcoin before? Show your hands, anyone? Anyone send, receive Bitcoin ever? Yeah, I know you guys did. Wow, okay, so I'll slow down on what I'm explaining. Go back a little bit to the basics. So with Bitcoin, it's a digital currency, but it also has decentralized blockchain. Blockchain essentially is a ledger or a record of all the transactions that is kept on user machines. And because so many users around the world keep the copy of the same ledger, nobody can cheat. Because basically each user verifies its own transaction with its other user transaction record. And that allows a decentralized coin to essentially be proven that all the transactions are legitimate. So that way nobody can copy their Bitcoin or fake a transaction or double spend their money. It's a pretty sophisticated system. It's quite amazing. And if you're just entering Bitcoin space, I think the more you learn about it, you're going to be overwhelmed at first, but then it will become very natural and make a lot of sense. Just like when you first use the computer, I'm sure it was not intuitive at all. I know I can tell you honestly right now, my mom transacts in Bitcoin, so if I could convince her and explain it to her, I'm sure everyone can figure this out. Another thing that has to do with coin payments, another thing that contributed to a lot of our growth was we figured we didn't have a lot of money to spend on marketing, and we also realized that general population doesn't understand this stuff just yet, right? So they do not understand what Bitcoin is, they do not understand how to use it, how to send it, how to receive it. So we're like, how do we target people who do, and how do we go out to them? And we realized we already have some users, right? So why not get these users to invite other users and pay them? So we created an affiliate system that allows people to basically invite businesses that they know could benefit from this technology for international cross-banking and things like that, and then they start referring, and that's led to our explosive growth that we have today. So that said, anyone who has an account with coin payments, which are free, it's free to use by anybody. You have a link inside of your account through which you can email it or post on your social media or on anywhere, and anybody who signs up through that link, you get 25% of all the commissions if they become a business and use our service for 5 years. So that led to a lot of people falling in love with our system and marketing it to businesses that actually, they knew could benefit from that. And so we're allowed our users to find users for us. Because like I said, if you're in a traditional space like Visa and MasterCard, any business can benefit from that. But in Bitcoin, not always. Like, if you're a mom and pop shop on the corner, it might just slow down the line at the till when they're paying with Bitcoin. So it might not work for you just yet. But if you're an online business, it's going to be amazing for you because say you're in China, like Alex actually spends a lot of time in China. China has a problem with government locking down and firewalling the internet. So if I'm a vendor in China and I want to sell goods to North America or Russia or Australia or anywhere else in the world, I would have to come to special agreements with banking, Visa, and things like that to accept those payments. And they're probably going to charge me extraordinary fees when it's cross-banking and outside of my territory. With Bitcoin, none of this exists. So essentially, if I start accepting Bitcoin, I can take a payment instantly from anywhere on the planet, pay no fees, and get money right away, and I don't have to worry about chargebacks. They don't exist. So if you understand that and what it potentially offers, it basically is revolutionary. There's nothing like that other than Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in traditional banking system. Right, so one of the other cool things that we did as we realize that more and more people are using our system and actually storing their Bitcoins and their other cryptocurrencies on our wallet systems and sending it back and forth to each other worldwide, was that Bitcoin addresses are really annoying and they're really hard to remember. I mean, there's a reason why they're so long and complicated, and so that nobody can copy it, nobody can replicate and things like that, which totally makes sense from the security standpoint, but it's still really annoying to remember. So we decided, well, since we already have 55 cryptocurrencies using our system and our wallets are ran on the server that we control, why not create an email address, or we call it pay by name, for all the wallet addresses. So essentially with coin payments, if you have a wallet with us, you can get a pay by name, which is basically your username with a dollar tag we call cash tag. So that allows you to have, mine is cash tag Alex. Actually, he could come up with that name. So with a cash tag, what happens is you send the money, like say for example, I want to send $100 in Bitcoin to Alex right now. And typically I have to call him and ask him, hey, what's your Bitcoin address or Litecoin address or any other cryptocurrency address? And he has to send it to me. I have to receive it, copy it, and then send the money to him. If, however, he creates a pay by name, he just gives me a pay by name like, $VK or something like that, and then I just save it in my address book. And now I can send money anytime, and I don't have to ask him for address again. It's something I can remember, put in my address book. And what's cool about it, you can not just send Bitcoin, you can send any cryptocurrency to that address, and our system will automatically filter it and put in the correct wallet, making it much easier for people to interact with digital currencies. Yeah, so what is digital currency, right? I've kind of covered it a little bit in the beginning, and honestly, trust me when I tell you, this evening is not going to be long enough for me to cover all of it. But in the basic, the main thing that I love about it personally is that it gives you basically power over your money back. Like, do you guys remember back in the day when you used to go rent a video from a rental store, right? Do anybody remember those times, right? Yeah. Where are those now, right? I think the same thing is going to happen to banks. And I legitimately believe in that in the next few years, banks are going to become just as obsolete as the video stores. Because you have to wait in line, you have to wait according to their hours, you have to make sure they're not on a break, you have to wait for a check to clear, you have to get a certified check, and sometimes they'll hold that, the things will bounce. It's just so annoying. All of it just doesn't make sense anymore. It's so outdated. With Bitcoin, I get it, it's mine, I have it. I don't have to ask anybody to spend it. Nobody can stop me from spending it. I don't have to ask who I can send it to, and nobody can stop that transaction from happening. So, and it's instant, it's 24 hours a day. If I want to trade it, if I'm a professional trader, like a Forex trader or stock market guys, they're all loving cryptocurrency trades right now because it's 24/7, all year round, no holidays, no breaks, none of that stuff. It's just computer running computers, right? So if you think about that, humans can't replicate, the efficiency of code and machinery running 24/7, and therefore that is what's going to replace the banks. Some might just not happen as soon as we'd like, but it will definitely happen. And the infrastructure that's being built right now around these cryptocurrencies like coin payments, BitPay, Coinbase, and all our other competitors, everybody's trying to do something unique in this market to assist, help people, use these currencies, interact with them. And one of the products we're going to discuss tonight, actually, Andrew's going to come on at some point and tell you about it. I'm going to keep that as a surprise. But everybody's trying to come up with new innovations to make it so easy to integrate with a current system, but give you the benefit and security of Bitcoin layered on top of the existing systems. Yeah, I'll let you cover that. I mentioned Bitcoin, I mentioned Litecoin, but there's actually about 700 of these coins. And a lot of them are completely worthless. Some of them are just basically people attempts to copy Bitcoin to make a quick buck, which, just like pink sheet stocks, that just go away and they never come back. Same idea applies. People are greedy. They're going to do things what they're going to do. But that said, in that 700 coins, there's about, I would say, 30 that are really, really interesting and actually offer something very innovative, unique, and very, very advanced that Bitcoin does not. So that's why they have value, and they have popularity, and they have their own niche market in digital world that has now sprung out as a result of Bitcoin. So some of these coins I'll cover quickly is Ethereum. That's made a huge splashback right now, and again, that's actually a big portion of your presentation, so I'm not going to cut into that. But so Ethereum, Litecoin, Dashcoin, Dogecoin was a big success as well. So all these coins come and go, and how do you pick them? Like, how do you decide which one to buy and which one to hold and which to make money? Now, I've been in this space since 2012. So just after Bitcoin launched 2009, I found out about it in 2012. And I was lucky enough to get into the space when the Bitcoin is about $4, right? So it seems like way far back now, because we're now trading, just a few weeks ago, we're at $1,300 US per one Bitcoin. But that's great upside. But more money was made on Litecoin, and more money was made on Peercoin, and more money was made on all the other cryptocurrencies that followed. And the reason why, let's just say in time when Bitcoin went from $4 to 1,000, Litecoin went from 3 cents to $49. And if you understand math, it's astronomical gains. And you see that happen almost every 6 months in the space. Some cryptocurrency just goes from cents to $10 to $20. And millions are made overnight. And people that I know in this space and community have made a ton of money doing this. And that's why we're kind of going around and trying to tell people, look, this is not just money. This is not just a new way of transacting that's like for turbo nerds, right? It's actually a valid product that could literally change your financial life overnight, very quickly. And it's not even weird. You can look at the stats and see how it goes. So tonight at this presentation, I want to kind of conclude with a coin that I'm super interested in right now, and I'm one of the foundation members of it right now. An honorary maid of honor is what they call me. Stupid joke. Yeah, so with MadeSafe, what they're doing essentially is decentralizing the entire internet. So it's not just a coin. Bitcoin is a decentralized money. And like I said, every currency that comes about brings something cool and unique and special that's not just a copycat of Bitcoin. MadeSafe is not just a copycat of MadeSafe, of Bitcoin at all. It's an entirely new developed network. How to describe it easily? I find that people understand this better when it's less technical. So how many of you guys heard of Airbnb? Anyone by show of hands? Airbnb? Right? Okay. How many of you guys have heard of Uber? Uber? Anyone have used Uber? Okay, cool. So we understand how those services revolutionized the planet and the way we interact with, going places and staying places. And what it actually did is it allowed you to take the empty space in your house that was sitting empty and now make money from that. Or utilize your car on the time you're not using it and make money off of that. MadeSafe is doing the same thing with your computer. So essentially, your computer, if you think about it, how many people in the room have a computer? Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, everybody has a computer. So how would it sound to you if I told you your computer is actually being used maybe 30% of the time? Some people who are totally addicted to video games or coders or nut jobs, they'll use it 60% of the time. But realistically, it's mostly idle. And even when you're using it, you're not utilizing even, in general, more than 10 or 20% of your CPU power at all. So why not rent that out to the network that will pay you for it? So what you're doing essentially is you're installing an app used by MadeSafe. You dedicate the portion of your hard drive, your CPU and RAM power to it, and then it pays you an actual money for it, and at the same time gives that to the network that it bootstraps from all the user machines around the world, so we don't have to use Google, Facebook, and Amazon servers who steal and sell our data to the governments and all these corporations and get hacked all the time. We can't trust them anymore, so just build our own system. So this is what MadeSafe is going to do. MadeSafe is essentially built a user-based, decentralized internet that does not depend at all on servers, where the data is completely distributed between users all around the world. And I know it sounds a little crazy at first and almost incomprehensible, but it's actually super easy. When you start kind of understanding, it's almost weird that we didn't do that in the first place. If you think about it, someone in Shanghai actually asked me, they're like, well, is there enough machine space on the user machines versus what Google and Baidu has? Well, yeah, actually, this will surprise you. So in I think it was 2016, last year, in the summer, Google will announce how much data storage they have on their servers. And they announced, they said they had 8,000 petahashes, which is whatever, it's a lot of petahashes. Users, however, in 2016's worldwide have 60,000 petahashes between them that are not being used. So we have more than enough space between our machines, our phones, and everything else we're not using to have a much better, more efficient internet. Internet itself has gotten so much faster. If you understand how the torrent network, anybody, that's a weird question to ask on stage, but anyone ever interacted with a torrent file? Okay, yeah, Definitely need a compliance officer on that one. But it's essentially when you're downloading a torrent, let's just say downloading a Linux or something illegal and open source, and it's a torrent file. The more people are seeding it, the faster the internet goes, right? So you're not downloading the whole file from their computers. You're downloading a little chunk, and it's coming from a lot of machines, and it accelerates your download. Well, the internet can work in the exact same way. So let's say I upload my picture onto a user network like MadeSafe. I now have to pay a fraction, like a tiny, tiny amount with a MadeSafe wallet so they can store it on the network. That money gets distributed between users that credit that money. So essentially, if you dedicate space to the network, you get those tokens, which you then can use to interact with the network. So it's a living, like, it's not an organism, obviously, but it's like a living network that self-adjusts and regulates when machines go on online and offline. And it's quite amazing. I can go on and on about MadeSafe, but you know, I'm gonna run out of time here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna play a video for you after a couple of presentations and show you more in detail about MadeSafe, and then I'll come back and, you know, maybe explain a little bit more, because I'm absolutely blown away by this, and this is the thing that I'm really excited about. And what I recommend to everyone, if you do ever decide to invest into a coin, this one's only 16 cents right now because they're launching at the end of this year, and I don't think there's anything better right now you can get. I've seen coins go from 3 cents to 50 bucks. I've never seen anything that cool before. So just with that note, I'm gonna give it to the next speaker, and thank you for your time. I'll be back on after a video. Thanks, guys.
How much of your life is stored digitally? Your photos, your files, your most intimate conversations. It's all on a hard drive somewhere, and it's probably easy to access. By you, but also by the cloud storage companies you trust. Those companies have a track record of handing over their data to governments. Their first priority is to make profit for their shareholders, not your privacy. Then there's cybercrime. It has become a bigger business than the trade of illicit drugs. Due to the enormous amount of data stored on cloud servers, they are a target that's hard for hackers to resist. It's time to take security and privacy back into our own hands. MadeSafe uses decentralization and encryption to ensure that only you can access your files. The SAFE network is completely distributed. There is no central point of control or weakness. The software connects unused computing capacity to form a global network that can handle all data and communications. It's not just about storage. It allows you to safely run any app that exists today, while paying you for your contribution. Here's how it works. You create an account without the need to identify yourself and decide how much space you want to dedicate to the network. As the space is used, Safe coins are given as a reward. Safecoin has a market value and can be freely traded, just like Bitcoin. Before you upload a file, it is encrypted on your computer. It is then fragmented into small pieces and spread at random throughout the network. Data is stored with redundancy, and files are autonomously moved by the network as connected computers are turned on and off. Only you have the credentials to make it available again. Your data and your thoughts belong only to you. You decide what to do with them, no one else. MadeSafe. Privacy, security, and freedom for everyone.
And again, I want to give a special thanks to Crypto Fondo. They've done a great job of organizing this event. So thank you again to Crypto Fondo.
The development of online finance often follows the demands and challenges of the market, forever changing and adapting through a process of continual development and restructuring. There are several important core elements that dictate the emerging trends in internet finance, and starting now, Industrial pioneers who have observed and studied the development of internet finance are heading towards one of these trends, one that's going to shift the paradigm of the market. Introducing Centennial Coin of Prosperity, a brand new composite tool in internet finance. In addition to being a whole new financial product, it's also a game changer that will lead future trends. The creation of CCP not only alters the present market situation, it will play a pivotal role in the development of future trends. A number of new concepts in how we approach financial development have been integrated into this conceptual framework. A mutually circulated and interconnected cash flow mechanism is the cornerstone of this new financial tool. Barriers to collection and payment cycles are completely eliminated, allowing for potentially exponential asset value growth. This is an advanced value-added approach, one that leverages the core of market psychology. The exchange of digital currency will be a major portion of global internet financial transactions. The existence of virtual currencies has elevated the value of this currency exchange mechanism. The adoption of mobile apps and intelligent messaging systems transcend linguistic and cultural barriers, offering a truly international trading platform. Created with an understanding of the ever-changing financial world, CCP inspires a new level of customer faith. Having been designed around the needs of the financial industry, we give pioneers the tools they need to proceed with confidence. Centennial Coin of Prosperity. Together with those pioneers, we've taken the lead and swept away all competition. A simple yet adaptable platform for a complex, ever-changing market. Centennial Coin of Prosperity.
Okay, so I think at this point we need to summarize a little bit about what's happened so far. And usually, to be honest, I have notes that I like to stick to. So this is me challenging myself not to use any notes and to kind of go beyond that. So, to recap what Alex said, cryptocurrency is the future. Andrew said, banks, Visa cards, bad. Sina said, Alex and I got rich, cryptocurrency. That's basically the summary of what we've heard so far, right? The future, the past, some challenges that exist, and how we have an opportunity to kind of move past those. So one thing I was thinking as I was sitting there was it really sounds like we're really pushing MadeSafe, like we have something to benefit from that. Nobody here has any stake in MadeSafe the way it might sound like. Like obviously coin payments, we want you to use the Visa card. We want you to use their account, of course. But for MadeSafe, that's not the case. MadeSafe is an example where you've all come here to try and learn something. Depending on how much you know, I don't know. But MadeSafe is an opportunity. Myself, I'm new to the cryptocurrency space. I didn't have a chance to make any money on any of these coins. MadeSafe for me is the first opportunity to do so. So when we present it, it's just an opportunity for us to present this tip that when you leave here, you're more than welcome to go and research and find out anything you want, anything you might be curious about with MadeSafe. I know when we were in Jakarta, we had CNN interviewing MadeSafe, as well as coin payments. Next week, I'll be in Vancouver. We have a Taiwanese magazine flying into Vancouver to interview coin payments again and learn about MadeSafe. The reason I mention those is because it's bigger. It's bigger than the four of us standing here on a stage talking about them. It's actually something that's happening. So again, welcome everybody to research that. However, where the benefit does come is because by telling more and more people about MadeSafe and helping people understand how the network works, we all benefit. Right? So that's a lot of what I do as marketing director for MCC, is to promote all of these companies and all of these businesses because we think that they benefit you. But the information is there for everybody to research. So something I also wanted to kind of back it up a little bit. I didn't see the show of hands before in terms of who had Bitcoin or who uses Bitcoin. So I'm gonna ask, if you have Bitcoin or you use Bitcoin, transact, can you put your hand up, please? Because it helps us understand the audience a little bit. Okay, so that tells a lot. And again, for myself, I was also very new to this space. And when I go to Vancouver, my friends and family have lots of questions, many of which I myself am still learning about, because it can be very simple, it can also be very complicated. So one of the things people ask regarding Bitcoin, or the issues that we hear all the time is the volatility, how much the price swings, and how do I know when to time it, how do I know when it's not, going to be crashing. And I think it's one of those things you can't know. And if you're speculating and just trying to buy and sell quickly to catch the market at the right time, it's not a strategy, but it's just like any other stock. It's just like any investment. Like Warren Buffett said, you shouldn't be doing that kind of investment anyway. So in the last 5 years, what I can say is that the volatility of Bitcoin has decreased. So maybe 5 years ago, it's about 30% on a daily basis. So daily, the price was fluctuating 30%. Now it's down to about 3-4%. So you can see how the volatility is decreasing because it's becoming more and more stable to the point that they were making. So where does that put buying Bitcoin in the wider spectrum? Well, it's kind of in between oil and Twitter. I did that research to try and find it so we can understand it a little bit better. So it's still kind of a risky investment in many ways, but it's not kind of way out there in terms of this, this weird cryptocurrency space. No, it has benchmarks that we're very familiar with, a tech company in Twitter and a resource like oil. So I just wanted to mention that. That's in terms of the volatility. Another question people have is about the safety. I was talking with a friend just the other day who is just starting to get interested in Bitcoin and MaidSafe and doing his own research, and he said, but there's all these hacks, there's all these security issues with it. I don't want to get scammed, I don't want to get my money, taken away. And that challenged me a little bit. I didn't know how to answer that question. So I researched a little bit, and one of the kind of messages that I took away was that the issue with Bitcoin, the issue with cryptocurrency, is not so much the blockchain or the Bitcoin, it's the companies in the space. It's the security of those companies, which is like the coin payments. The companies like coin payments are the ones have the problems with security. And they didn't really touch on it, but his company, Alex and Sino, their company, they're the industry leaders in that space in terms of the technology that they use to secure the investments. And that's why they have never been hacked. So I'm not going to get into that technology. You're more than welcome to ask them about that, but it's just a fact. So again, when you're reading these news stories on Bitcoin and the technology and the security, again, ask yourself, what is being hacked? Where is that happening? And how? Because then you'll see, well, it's not the technology of Bitcoin, it's the company that got hacked. So the company is the problem. So we should all be researching and understanding where we're putting our money. Okay? So I just want to touch on those two things because those are two key points. And the third point before I go on to CCP is about the future. I think if people are interested in cryptocurrency or kind of watching the news, they know that in the past month or two, there was an exchange-traded fund, an ETF, that the Winklevoss brothers from Facebook, that whole fiasco, they wanted to launch. They wanted to make Bitcoin tradable so that everybody could invest in Bitcoin. And it failed. So again, what does that mean for Bitcoin? That means that right now, maybe is not the best time for an exchange-traded fund. But that doesn't mean that it's not the way of the future. I see that news, and I think, wow, so it's becoming more and more mainstream. You have bankers, you have corporate types looking at cryptocurrency, and it's pushing it forward. So even though this attempt to kind of go mainstream, if you will, didn't succeed, I believe, and from what I read, it's going to happen. Just when everything else catches up, when the security features catch up, and some other issues that Andrew was talking about before. So again, I think the future is very much in cryptocurrency's favor, and I think we see a lot of examples of why it's moving in that direction. So moving on now, Bitcoin basically has two applications that the people use it for now. So maybe people in this room don't use Bitcoin so much, but for the person that does, they're thinking two things. They're thinking, one, I want to be able to send my money freely and securely. That's one point. And the second is privacy. And actually, that's a few points. But basically, they want to be able to send money, and they want security, and they want privacy. Okay? And then they want to speculate, right? People buy Bitcoin, and then they hope the price goes up. But there's really not that much to Bitcoin. There's really not that much that one can do with it. And that's where CCP comes in. Because CCP is an opportunity for people to invest their Bitcoin. They can put that to work for them. And so that's where the presentation that I'm going to talk about is a little bit about the investment opportunity. This should definitely not be left up here because, as we heard, it's amazing and it's very easy to use. Okay, now this is my attempt at this clicker. If you have Bitcoin and you're sending it, I'm in Canada, I'm sending it to Mexico, happens quickly, fantastic. If you're like Seen or Alex, you've used Bitcoin, you've bought it at a certain price, it's increased, fantastic. But the question is, why do we have to limit it like that? Why can't we use the Bitcoin for more? And that's what CCP is. So what CCP is a platform. That's all it is, essentially. And it's an opportunity for investors to use their Bitcoin to put it to work for them. Like I said, I'm kind of hoping that diagram pops up soon because you need to see the kind of the ecosystem, the way it works. But simply put, when you invest in CCP, it's a network of peers, okay? So when an investment is made, first part, security. As we just mentioned before, the security is really, really important. People need to know where their money is and how we use it. So that's why there's a partnership or a synergy with Coin Payments. There's usually a diagram right here with Coin Payments on it. With Coin Payments, because Coin Payments is the industry leader in this. So when people make an investment in CCP, it's secured by CPS. That's where the funds are held. So the investors can be confident, first and foremost, that their investment is being held in a secure place. Second part, transparency. There is no middleman to CCP. It's all about the network. So when somebody makes an investment, you're essentially buying stocks or shares. Those stocks or shares belong to somebody else. So it's all between the network, and it's not going through a middleman. So there's no risk for a company to run away or anything that one might have heard of before. It's just a network of peers, and so it's transparent. We always know how transactions happen. And simplicity. As you'll see in the slides to come, it's very, very simple. All right. So, synergy. How do we break this down? So the first part is the platform. It's a platform of peers, okay? Beyond we have this investment opportunity where investors can use their Bitcoin and make it work for them. Fantastic. The second part is the hedge fund. And this is why I'm thinking for you, this is different than other investment opportunities. So what we believe is that, as they were mentioning, there's so many different cryptocurrencies on the market today, but some of them are undervalued, and we believe that MadeSafe is one of them that is extremely undervalued. So what we do is we take a portion of the investment that somebody makes in CCP, and we invest it into MadeSafe. So if you have a technology that is revolutionary, that we think is going to be huge one day, and you invest when it's in 6 cents, 7 cents, and it grows to the point, like Bitcoin, $1,200 today, the opportunity and the return for all of its investors is obviously huge. And so that's what we are starting with MadeSafe, and we want to add other cryptocurrencies as we identify them. So a portion of all the investors' investment is invested in MadeSafe, and you all see that in your wallet, as I'll show you in the next slide. So you see your investment of MadeSafe as well as CCP, okay? Third, marketing. This is essentially my job when I go around and I talk. Because people don't know. People don't know anything about MadeSafe. They don't know much about Bitcoin sometimes. They don't understand how this works. So we travel and we talk about MadeSafe. We explain how the network works. We explain the benefits of it. And we explain the returns that people can make with this investment. So the marketing really helps MadeSafe. Because it's a technology, right? It needs funding and it needs users. So by explaining to people, and people say, hey, that makes sense. I like that. And then when they invest in MadeSafe, the value of MadeSafe increases. So it's a circle. And then you as an investor, in part number 1 there, you're benefiting as well because you already believe in MadeSafe, you understand how it works, and you're holding shares. Understand? So again, to go back to the beginning, people invest in CCP. A portion of that investment goes into the hedge fund, which is MadeSafe. We travel, we really promote, whether it's on CNN or any popular media, talking about MadeSafe and the value of the network and the technology behind it. And then as the price of the coin increases, we all benefit from that, right? People beyond this room, they can also invest in MadeSafe. That doesn't matter. But by investing in CCP, you're also getting a return on your Bitcoin as well, whereas they're all just waiting for the value of MadeSafe to increase. So you're thinking, okay, I think I get it, I think I don't get it. So let's look at the next part here. Everything starts, just like buying Bitcoin right now, you have to buy it from somewhere, right? And so that's the first part there, local exchange. you need to have Bitcoin somehow. Okay? So let's assume you have your Bitcoin in your hand and you say, great, I'd like to make it work for me. I'd like to put it to use, aside from just speculating or sending it. You put it in your coin payments wallet. Again, why coin payments? Why do we choose that company? Because it's safe. It's proven track record for security. So now it's in coin payments. That's number one. Number two, SendSeed. As I believe it was Sina, or Alex, I can't remember, they mentioned CCP uses a farming metaphor, just because it helps to make it a little bit easier, but we can interchange the names with kind of more traditional terminology. So from coin payments, you send your Bitcoin into the CCP site. But again, the funds are still held in coin payments. This is just the platform that we see in CCP. So you now have your principal, which we call SendSeed, again, that farming metaphor. So let's say it's $120 or whatnot. You've invested into CCP. You get SendSeed. And I'm going to walk over here because it's just easier for me to show. So this SendSeed is your principal. And once like I mentioned, a portion goes to MadeSafe, and a portion buys you the shares, which is what we call CentCoin. So CentCoin is just a token. It's just, again, it's a term that we use, but it's not actually like SendSeed. It's just a token. This is your shares, and the shares appreciate, right? At various rates, like it's a market. So your shares increase or decrease, whatever it might be. And when you want to sell, we call it SendFruit. And that's just your dividends. So it's like any other stock. You buy your stock, you take your principal, invest in stock, sell your stock, get your money, right? It's the exact same idea, just with Bitcoin. So when you have your SendFruit and you sell, it goes right back in your coin payments wallet, right? A portion of your investment, though, gets reinvested. And the reason that happens is because we want to make sure that people who invest aren't trying to kind of flip, kind of move money too quick. The idea of this is to develop a network that's sustainable, so people get sustainable returns for their investment. So this goes right back into your wallet, so it goes right back in the ecosystem, and then you can sell it again in the future. Again, the idea being we don't want people to put their money in, take it out, and then run away. The idea is to make it a little bit slower and a little bit longer. So now your money is back in your coin payments wallet. You have a choice. You can either reinvest, or you can use their Visa card, for example, take the money out. Alex didn't really mention it before, but Bitcoin is fully transferable. So even though in the system it's not Bitcoin, it's CentCoin, once it goes back into your wallet, it's Bitcoin again. So essentially, you have three investments. You have your Bitcoin that you've invested, it grows, you hold MadeSafe, that's a second investment, and CentCoin. So you have actually three investments. And when you sell, it goes back to Bitcoin, that you can do whatever you want. You can convert it to pesos, you can put it into US dollars, you can buy MadeSafe, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to go to the third slide, and I'll go over this side of the room, and it'll be a little bit more detail. Okay, so again, you have Bitcoin, you like having Bitcoin, you've heard a lot about it, but Bitcoin, all you can do is transfer somewhere to somebody else, safely and securely, or you can speculate. There's just two things you can do with it. CCP came along because we thought there should be more you can do. You should be able to put your Bitcoin to work for you. So how do we do that? We created a platform of peers. There again, there's no middleman, there's nobody in between. So let's say you've gone to your local exchange or however you've done it, and you've said, I want to buy Bitcoin. So you buy that Bitcoin with your pesos or whatnot, and now it's sitting in your coin payments wallet, just like MadeSafe or anything else. You have a CCP account. When you open your account, it's going to ask you to invest, right? So when you invest, that money moves into the CCP platform. This is just your principal, easiest way to look at it. So your principal is here. CCP takes 20% and invests it in MadeSafe. Why MadeSafe? Again, that's what we were talking about and why we think it's such a good investment. Because we think we can all benefit by investing it. So we take 20%. Of that 20%, this is how it's used. People want to know, so why, what did you do with my 20%? What happened to it? Well, a quarter of it you see in your wallet. In your wallet, so it's there to see. Another quarter of it is invested daily in MadeSafe to support the value of the MadeSafe coin. Because again, it's a market, right? If you're looking at stocks and whatnot, you want to see the stock that you own is either stable or it's increasing. So we need to support the value of SafeCoin. The third quarter is pooled every 30 days. So again, we take the funds from people from around the world, whether it's Japan or it's China or Mexico, and we use that to support SafeCoin on a monthly basis. Because people that aren't investing regularly, they're watching, right? I've spent so much time traveling, and these tech guys, they're watching all the time to see what kind of update is it coming from MadeSafe, or what's the price doing. So we want to make sure that people are confident in that, and we can do that by supporting the price of MadeSafe. And finally, the last quarter is rolled over. So if there's extra funds that haven't been spent at the end of the month, we put them back into MadeSafe. Okay, so that's the 20% that goes into supporting MadeSafe. So now you have 80% left of your initial investment, of your principal, that goes to cent coin. So the cent coin is your stock. And the simplest part of it, your stock appreciates and you want to sell. So as the stock appreciates, you have the choice to sell, and it goes right back into your wallet, right? So the key point to note here is that the system limits the profit that you can make. Now that sounds scary, but the number is actually quite large. So the investment that you made, that let's say it was $100, you can make a maximum of $500 before the system says, okay, you need to reinvest. And the reason it does that is because if somebody started investing in September or October of last year, and they just can continue on that initial investment to continue to make returns, that's not necessarily fair. So in order to make it fair for everybody that invests, they limit it to 5 times. And at that point, the system will say, okay, time to reinvest another $100 or whatever the investment might be. So it's very transparent, it's very open. That's why they do that. So I'm not going to talk about the decentralized commission, but it's kind of similar to the CPS wallet, I think. I kind of made that up on the spot. But if you refer other people, there's a benefit. There's an added benefit. So I'm not going to get into that here because that's a whole nother level. But again, it's one of those things, if you share MadeSafe, you share CCP with others, there's an added benefit, which makes sense like any other business. So going back here, so let's say you've decided, okay, you know what? I've made a couple $100, I want to sell. Fantastic. You can sell that, but they take 30% and they reinvest it. So it forces you to buy shares that, again, you hold just so the system slows down, because people get very excited when they're making the money. They want to sell. But that's not necessarily good for a system, for an investment, right? If it goes too hot, too fast, it's just not good. So that allows us to control it a little bit, keep things at a nice sustainable rate, and then the difference goes back into your coin payments wallet, which is 60%. From there, again, it's Bitcoin, so it came in as Bitcoin, and it goes out of Bitcoin as well. And then it's in your wallet, and you can convert it to USD, or use your Visa card, or whatever you might like. Okay, so that is basically, in short, CCP. And what we're so excited about it and why we've been so successful the last, I think, 8 months is because even though I think in this room right now, if you don't have Bitcoin, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. For us or those that use Bitcoin, that send it, it's finally a chance to make money from Bitcoin instead of just speculating on its value. So it just provides another asset that people have to make money. So Bitcoin is anonymous. That's fantastic. You have a Visa card with coin payments that you can use to withdraw your investment. People in China, I spent a lot of time in China. And so people are really concerned about the government, taxes, sending money. There's limitations to how much you can sell or how much you can move money. But coin payments, like for example, if you have Bitcoin, you bought Bitcoins in China, great. You invested in CCP, great. You get your returns back into your coin payments wallet, and now you have a Visa card. And you can travel anywhere you want, and you can use that Visa card, and the government has no idea what you're doing. So I use that as an example because I don't understand Mexico so well. But I know in that situation, in that climate, in that economy, it's very, very attractive. Or they give the card to their kid who lives in Vancouver, which I'm also from, and it's even easier for them to move money, to send money. So this is CCP. If you don't know anything about cryptocurrency, I definitely suggest that you, for all the reasons we've mentioned so far, take a look. Because as I started this whole conversation, it's about freedom. We should have the right to go on the internet without having people sell our information. We should have the freedom and the convenience to spend money how we want. And in terms of investment, if you have Bitcoin, if you're already sold on it and cryptocurrency excites you, then we should be able to use it in creative ways that allow us to make more money. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out why we're so excited about this. And finally, MadeSafe. I wanted to close just by one more time emphasizing the technology, because I talk a lot about MadeSafe, I talk a lot about coin payments, I talk a lot about CCP. If this entire room was a network, right? Traditionally, if I want to send a picture to my friend here in the front row, Merry Christmas, right? That card, that picture, goes through the server here, and then it goes over here. If it's just a Christmas card or just a picture, no problem. But we all know that the internet and information, sometimes it's sensitive, right? So what if we could take this middle person out of the way? And each of us had a phone or computer that we just turned on at nighttime before we went to bed. So now when I send this picture, that picture is cut up into a million pieces, and everybody in this room has a piece. And when I want to look at that picture in the future, or I want to send it, he has the key and I have a key. We're the only people that have that. So if I'm sending it to him, he pulls it together on his computer. Or if he's sending me something, I pull it together on my computer. If you're a hacker, where do you go? Right? Because that picture is everywhere. It's not in the server. If I'm a hacker and I want to find information, I go right here. It's really easy. Right? The flip side, or the additional benefit that Alex said, is that now, because we all said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, I'm happy to be part of the network, when you wake up in the morning after having your app on your phone on, you have a currency, you have a token, you have a coin, something that you can use. And you can use that to, I don't know if, in the future you can imagine Nike and all these big companies, they have they're on the Safe network as well. You have the New York Times, if you want to read an article, it's just automatically, you read an article, you pay with like 0.0001 SafeCoin, right? So it's a big stretch to kind of imagine that kind of world, but at the same time it makes sense, doesn't it? It's really, really simple. And that's why we've chosen it as our first fund that we want to invest in, because we want to make sure that our investors get great return. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should say. Okay. Was that? Okay, well, I thought I touched on that. So CCP, again, when I said there's no middleman, again, to the same point, the funds are all decentralized. So when I talk about the stocks and the shares, or in this case, the cent coin, when I buy something, I buy directly from somebody else who's selling. So it's not sitting in anybody else's hands. So the funds are distributed, decentralized among the network. That's something people kind of wonder, like, well, okay, so if I'm buying something, where's the money going? Who holds that money? Nobody holds that. It's held amongst the network. When somebody sells something, I can buy something. Second question people ask is, okay, well, what happens if things stop, or the shares don't increase, or something goes wrong? Well, that's another reason why we've invested in MadeSafe. We've started investing in MadeSafe when it was 6 cents. It's 17 cents now. So if you look at the pool of investment that we've been able to allocate to MadeSafe, it's a huge safety net. So if at some point, if for whatever reason something happens, we have the assets that are available to be able to compensate individuals who didn't make their money back. So again, it's a security, it's a safety feature, and it's all open. There's nothing kind of secretive behind this. But there's a number of reasons why we chose MadeSafe. The primary reason being it's undervalued, amazing technology that I think, he said end of the year, we will all start to hear more about. And a lot of it will probably be negative. Sometimes governments, I'm just going to add this because it's so relevant to what we're talking about right now. You flip on the news, it's always terrorist attacks, bad things happening, and governments always frame it like we need more information. We need more access to your information. It makes sense. I get it. And I kind of agree. But this network, I think, is a solution to a lot of the problems we have, and it's an evolution. I think Andrew again said, this is the future. And the MadeSafe guys said, look, if Henry Ford had just said, okay, well, I'm going to develop this car, but people are going to get hit by it, more people are going to die because of my car, I shouldn't build a car. It doesn't make sense, right? It's all about future and evolution and adaptation. So 3 challenges. Number 1, if you don't understand cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, just keep your ears open and research a little bit. I mentioned the part about security and safety. Think what's going on here. Is it the company, or is it the actual Bitcoin that's a problem? That's the first thing. Second thing, don't just wait to hear about Safe or the MadeSafe network, because you're not going to hear about it right now. But Google it, look it up online, and read a little bit about it. There's a lot of YouTube videos that you can see. Research that. And then if you start getting interested in Bitcoin, consider CCP, because it's an amazing opportunity to take that Bitcoin and put it to work for you. It's private, it's secure, and it's anonymous. I think it's all the benefits of cryptocurrency apply to CCP. So thank you everybody so much for your time. I'm going to pass it over to our lovely MC. And again, we have our team here at the end. If people want to have some specific questions, more than welcome to come. Thank you so much. Good night.